everybody. Let's do a little bit of news. Villager files ethics complaint against Sumter County Commissioner over recent vote. A complaint has been filed with the Florida Commission on Ethics against appointed Sumter County Commissioner Roberta Ulrich over her votes at a May 24 county meeting. The complaint filed by villager Gilbert Windsor alleges that Ulrich, who is running for her office this year, committed a violation by voting on 3 measures related to a proposed distribution center along State Road 44 near the Florida Turnpike. The guy that wants to start this warehouse donated a bunch of money for her re-election campaign, I believe it was, and then all of a sudden, as she got appointed to this position by Governor DeSantis, she approved it. Remember I told you guys months ago, this is kind of a good old boy network down here? A land use plan amendment, zoning change, and special use permit for the center were approved unanimously. They were requested by GOP political activist Carlos Baruff, whose associated companies donated $5,000 in April to Ulrich's campaign. Ulrich, who did not abstain from those votes, wrote Wednesday in an email that she had no conflict of interest. The first I learned of an assertion that a campaign donor was a petitioner seeking action from the commission was from the villagesnews.com article. I have an obligation to vote unless I have a conflict of interest that requires me to abstain. I did not have a conflict of interest that required me to abstain and was therefore obligated to vote. I find some of this, the explanations and everything from the powers that be kind of humorous, because I guess I attribute that to me trying to explain this to a judge, and the judge sitting up there going, do you really think I'm going to believe this? In April, Medallion Home, Golf Coast, and 3 other companies sharing the same address donated $5,000 to Ulrich's campaign, about 58% of the $8,570 she raised that month. Other companies were B Squared Engineering, Land Experts Incorporated, and Trans United Development Company. So what we have here is the engineer that's going to go over there and figure out the plans for this warehouse, and he's going to get his chunk of change. Then it's going to be handed off to Land Expert Incorporation, which is going to go over there and probably, excavate the land, level it out, and all this and that. And then Trans United Development Company is the company that's going to build the thing. My buddy. They all list the Sarasota address of 1651 Whitfield Avenue, Suite 200, which is the same address Baruff listed on the land use amendment application. Ulrich raised $5,670 in May, and her $1,000 donors were FMK Restaurant Group. They own like all of the restaurants, not own, they rent the buildings, but they own the restaurants south of 466A. They own some north of 466A, all the way up to Orange Blossom Gardens. You go to a country club, Evans Prairie, Belglade, Bonifay, Bluefin, Harvest, Scooples. You go to any of them, that's FMK Foods. They got like a monopoly down here. I really hate reading politics, but I'll tell you what, everything stinks. That's just the way it is. Everything from the Wildwood Commission to who gets appointed to what, how they got the money, it just stinks. And there's been another person appointed by Governor DeSantis to another office, and this also stinks. And you know this person probably very well. The Amenity Authority Committee could begin to explore the possibility of taking over priority pools from the developer. The AC member Carl Bell on Wednesday raised the idea of taking over operation of the priority pools, which are located at Orange Blossom Hills, Glenview, and Lopez Country Clubs north of 466A. Bell said it appears as though the developer is getting out of the priority pool business. He pointed to the 2020 closure and demolish of the priority pool at the former Hacienda Hills Country Club. It was the first indication he wants to get out of the priority pool business. AAC Chairman Don Deacon agreed with Bell about exploring the possibility. I agree with Mr. Bell. There seems to be a suggestion he wants to get out of the priority pool business. It doesn't hurt to explore it. It doesn't hurt to ask staff to look into it. The acquisition of those pools by the AAC would open them to all villagers as an amenity. Well, they were always an amenity before somebody had this bright idea about selling special passes to be able to use the pools at the country clubs. The country club pools were always open to residents, and it was just abruptly changed one year. Just said, hey, we're going to make them now where you have to buy a special membership to get in there. And the excuse has always been, hey, it's what everybody was asking. It's what everybody was telling me they wanted. We only do what the residents tell us. We listen to you. And I call BS on that. Some of the third generation came up with this idea about making an extra $1 million a year. We can sell these special passes for only the country club pools. We'll make it a priority pool. Somebody said, that's a great idea. And so they did it. And that's what that boils down to. Now, my opinion about this idea of taking over him. They say, well, it looks like he's wanting to get out of the pool. I have heard nothing that says that at all. I have never read anything from the developer's interests. I've never read anything in the Daily Sun, anything saying that the developer is wanting to get out of the priority pool business. I have not heard that. I'm not saying it's not possible. I have not heard that. So I don't know where they get the idea where it says it looks like the developer wants to get out of the business. And here we go with another one. A villager has been arrested on Pennsylvania warrants, charging him with 30 counts of child rape. Gary Raymond Steck, 64, was arrested at about 1 p.m. Tuesday at his home at 3844 Stephanie Way in the village of Fanny. Wildwood police officers went to his home at about 11:30 a.m. and Steck was not present. He arrived at home about 90 minutes later, riding as a passenger in a white 2018 Buick. In addition to the 30 counts of child rape, he is facing additional charges out of Pennsylvania of deviant sexual intercourse, indecent assault of a person under the age of 13, and endangering the welfare of a child. The arrest report from Wildwood Police Department indicated the warrants originated out of the Pottstown, Pennsylvania Police Department. He is being held without bond at some kind of detention center pending extradition to Pennsylvania. He and his wife purchased their home in the Villages in December for $292,500. Get him out of here. Put him in jail. This is sick, perverted stuff that there's no cure for. Put him in jail for life, forget him. And I sometimes wonder about how somebody could be doing things like this and the wife would just simply say, I didn't know anything about it. An apparent lightning strike during a thunderstorm Wednesday night destroyed a home in the Villages. Just so you guys know, those of you that's thinking about moving to Florida, if you haven't been watching my reports in the past, I've mentioned this several times. I'll mention it again. Florida has more lightning strikes in this state than anywhere else in the United States, other than hurricanes and sinkholes that nobody really seems to talk about that much. I had a neighbor, brand new home. The day he closed on that house, his luck, I swear his luck. Lightning struck his house, went through the electric system and took out the box, circuit breaker box for the whole house. He had nothing. And no, home warranty does not cover Mother Nature stuff. His insurance would not cover that without a $500 deductible. So I think that's what he did, though. I think he paid the $500 deductible and got everything fixed. But yeah, there's more lightning strikes here than everything, which leads to another disagreement amongst a lot of people about lightning rods. It's a 50-50 thing. And here's what I say about lightning rods. If you sleep better at night with lightning rods, then that's what you need to do. It has nothing to do with whether I agree or don't agree, or whether you agree or don't agree. It has nothing to do with that. Now, some insurance companies here will actually give you a discount on your home insurance if you do have lightning rods installed. You may want to check in on that. My personal opinion is, I was raised on a farm. It was nothing back in the day. We had barns full of hay and straw. I mean, that's just what you did, because back then everybody had milk cows, we had beef cattle, we had all these things. So you had to have bedding material, which is a straw. You had to have the feeding stuff for the winter time, which is the hay. So you had to protect that. And there was a lot of farmers that had lightning rods put all over their barn. And you guys can remember seeing them as kids, probably big, tall, red barns, and had these things sticking out the top of the barns and all that kind of stuff. Dad and my grandfather and all of our neighbors really were dead set against them, because they had the feeling that those things attracted lightning by sticking up there. And if they weren't sticking up there, there's a higher chance of probability that the barn would not get struck by lightning. Is that true? I don't know. But that's embedded in my mind. So I don't have lightning rods, because here's how I feel about it. Because he installed lightning rods down the road, I feel like all the lightning around here is going to go to his house. So I just don't do it. A strike occurred about 7 p.m. at the home of Andrew and Joanne Gissinger in the 600 block of Inner Circle in the village of Amelia. Amelia, by the way, has, I think, one of the best looking neighborhood recreation centers there. I think it's a neighborhood rec center. The whole billiard room area is got African decor in it, which I thought was just amazing. The house was deemed a total loss by the village's public safety department. It was the 21st home in the village destroyed by lightning since 2004, according to local lightning expert Lynn Hathaway. It was the first total loss attributed to lightning since the home was destroyed in 2020 in the village of Dunedin. Hathaway offering a warning for the neighbors. A Village of Finney homeowner is insisting residents in Community Development District 12 are being overcharged for their maintenance assessments. Resident Dean Johnson has stubbornly asked questions for months about the assessment being charged to residents in CDD 12, which was the first community to development district formed south of Highway 44 in the villages. Johnson's questions raised Thursday morning during a preliminary budget review at CDD 12's meeting at Everglades Recreation Center focused on the amount he and other residents are paying, in particular for common areas. CDD 12's operating budget for 22 and 23 will be $3.9 million, which is an 8% increase over the previous year. Get used to it. I put these warnings out. I shouldn't say warnings. They're not really warnings. I put these things out to people that's wanting to buy homes down here, new residents that don't understand any of this. And I've been here 8 years and I'm not sure I understand how it works. It's just political crap. It's just more politics on top of politics on top of politics. I've pointed out a lot of things that are wrong. I've tried to point out things that I think should be taken care of now so your maintenance fees won't go up overnight. I don't think anybody's taking anything I say serious at all. Enjoy your beer, enjoy your dancing, enjoy your music, because that gets your mind somewhere else. It gets your mind off of what's really going on. Ballards have been installed on a bridge on a popular walking path in the villages to prevent golf carts from crossing it. The ballards were recently added to the bridge of a popular pedestrian path in the village of Bradford. A resident recently complained to Community Development District 13 Board of Supervisors about golf carts accessing the path, which is intended for walkers and cyclists. As a result of residents' concerns, District Property Management also recently took a look at the walking path in the village of Bradford. The walking path is showing normal wear for an asphalt walking path. However, golf carts driving on the path will likely result in premature wear over time, according to an update offered at Thursday's meetings of the CDD 13 Board of Supervisors. Now, you know what I just heard? It's more about, well, we'll protect that walking path with this ballard, you see the picture of it, to keep golf carts off of it, because over time this could wear the path out. Do you think they care about the safety between keeping people away from golf carts when they're walking? I haven't seen anything mentioned about that. And this is something I brought up many, many times, and I know people disagree with me, and that's okay. I don't think people should be walking on a golf cart path. And I know in the last 7 or 8 years, I think at least 3 people have been hit by golf carts. There's been at least 1 death. They fell out of a golf cart, actually. But I don't know. Maybe it's me. My common sense is I see a problem here with people walking with motorized vehicles, especially at night, early in the morning, late at night. And that's when a lot of walkers do their walking because it's cooler. They don't wear reflective clothes. I see it all the time. Not once in a while. I see this every day, every night, and it's just a matter of time before one of these drunk people in a golf cart comes from Brownwood around a corner and they're going to run into you. And that's just what's going to happen. The Lady Lake Police Department introduced its new K9 to the public Thursday morning at a meet and greet at Town Hall. Chief Robert Timsta introduced Fast, a 16-month-old golden retriever, to the audience along with his handler, Officer Ryan O'Neill. Chief Tempesta told the audience that Fast will be used to help track lost persons as well as detecting drugs. The chief thanked Kathy Haviland of Tri-County Outreach Services, LLC, for helping obtain a grant for the Moritz Foundation for both the K9 and Specialized K9 Patrol vehicle. Fast has been living with O'Neill for the past 3 weeks and has adjusted well to living with his partner's 2 pet dogs, a 2-year-old German Shepherd Rescue and a 12-month-old purebred German Shepherd. O'Neill and Fast will continue training with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office K9 unit. The new K9 patrol vehicle is based on a Dodge Durango. The patrol car has a rear compartment for K9 Fast as well as special features to keep the dog safe and comfortable. Deputy Chief Jason Bro pointed out a feature called the hot dog, which alerts the handler in the event the cabin temperature rises to a dangerous level. Should that occur, the vehicle not only alerts the handler, it also lowers the windows. The K9 vehicle also has all the standard patrol car equipment. A villager will appeal to the Architectural Review Committee in a bid to keep an illicit addition to his patio villa. Joseph L. Marshry, who lives at 2164 Estevez Drive in Villa Veracruz in the village of Santiago, appeared Friday morning before the Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors. He purchased the villa in 1997 for $73,200. He said he was offered the option to have a floor room added to the home at the time of the purchase. Did you get that in writing? He said he turned down the Florida room at the time because he did not have the money to pay for it. He said they had come from the Chicago area and we were tired of big houses. However, his wife was in need of in-home care, so he recently decided to make an addition, essentially enclosing the formerly screened-in area. The lanai. During the public hearing, supervisors were shown photographs which clearly showed the non-matching color of the olive drab structure. A complaint about the illicit addition was received in March by community standards. The mistake I made was I didn't know I needed a permit. I listened to the construction company and they said I didn't need it. He claimed he later purchased a nearby villa which has the Florida room, and he claimed his addition is identical in dimensions to the other Florida room. That's not the problem. The problem is you didn't go to ARC to get the approval. They don't like for you to ignore them. He has retroactively applied to the Architectural Review Committee for approval. CDD2 Chairman Bart Zollner encouraged L. Marshry to take his case before the ARC, but also warned him to be armed with proper documentation. However, Deputy District Manager Carrie Duckett said the ARC will not approve the floor room extension based on the ARC manual. A $200,000 emergency pipe repair is contributing to budget concerns in Community Development District 1. The 30-year-old concrete pipe runs between two homes on Santa Marina Drive. The pipe is still in good shape, but a joint has failed due to ground movement over time. Bruce Brown of District Property Management told the Community Development District 1 Board of Supervisors on Friday morning at their meeting at Savannah Center. In April, a resident discovered a depression between the two homes. District Property Management personnel inspected the site and found multiple areas of loose soil between those houses. The pipe repair will cost $168,129 after the pipe is lined. There will also be a geoengineering cost. Soils will be tested to determine whether the ground stabilizing chemical injections is necessary. The $200,000 dwarfs the $20,000 which had been budgeted in 2021-2022 for stormwater inspection repairs. A lot of these ground depressions that people like to say are sinkholes, they're not. It's the drainage pipe things. The joints fail and it washes the sand away, causing the upper part of the ground to depression down. And so they come and inspect it to see if it is a sinkhole. Cost a lot of money. Engineers get involved. So what you think is a sinkhole, what a lot of people may tell you is a sinkhole, is just sand and stuff being washed away by a bad pipe joint. A 99-year-old villager has died after a remarkable life in which he fled Nazi Germany as a boy and returned with U.S. forces during World War II to defeat Adolf Hitler. Heinz Jaffe, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Jaffe, will be interred Monday at the Florida National Cemetery in Bushnell. The celebration of life will be held at 4 p.m. Monday at Temple Shalom in Oxford. Jaffe was born in 1923 in Germany. He was bar mitzvahed at the synagogue in Nuremberg, Germany, that was burned down the night of the broken glass. During what Hitler had in store, 13-year-old Jaffe and his 15-year-old brother were sent in 1936 to the United States to live with an uncle they had never met. His parents were lucky enough to obtain visas and got out in 1938. His grandmother and many other family members perished in Germany. Jaffe was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1943 and became an American citizen while stationed at Fort Bellew, Virginia. The one thing is, and you'll hear this from maybe a lot of other people that live here full time, you will meet sometimes some of the most interesting people that you would never believe lived here. A Village of Hillsboro resident was appointed Friday by Governor Ron DeSantis to a seat on the Sumter County Commission. Don Wiley is running for the District 5 seat, to which Orrin Miller was elected in 2020. Miller was suspended by the governor, who then appointed Village of Gilcrest resident Diane Spencer to the commission seat. Shortly after he gave her the job, she resigned. Wiley has served as a Community Development District 10 supervisor and has served as the chairman of the project-wide advisory committee. He is the owner of Gold Wing Productions, LLC. He is a veteran of the United States Navy and was honorably discharged in 2020. I don't have much faith in Don Wiley to do anything really credible here, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I have anything personally against him at all. He's probably a super nice guy. I know tons of people that's actually known him and met him. I haven't. I'll be honest, I haven't. But there's something in the back of my mind that I never forgot, and I just thought it was ironic. He was a guest on a very popular drone show on YouTube. He was a guest on a Thursday night live show. I'm not going to say the guy's name. I didn't have permission to say his name, but he knows who I'm talking about if he's watching this. And he basically a guest because Mr. Wiley wrote a book, I think, about droning. And maybe the rules of droning, how to get started droning, how to start a business with the drones, stuff like that. He wrote the book, and the whole idea was he was pushing it on Amazon. So he goes on this show, and they're going to question him, talk to him about the book, and blah, blah, blah. They asked him like 3 or 4 questions about his book, and Mr. Wiley could not even answer the questions. He just couldn't. And I just thought, my God, this is his book. Is it? So now you see why I'm hesitant about saying, I think he'll do a great job. I don't know that at all. I hope he does, but I'm not going to hold my breath. The Community Development District 4 Board of Supervisors has given preliminary approval to a budget which includes a 20% hike in the maintenance assessment rate. The $4.054 million budget for 22 and 23 includes an increase of $360,000 over the previous years. Supervisors, in approving the preliminary budget on Friday, noted they want to look toward strengthening CDD4's financial position. Supervisor Mark Hayes hosted a question and answer Monday night at Mulberry Grove Recreation Center. There were a lot of inquiries from residents about the possible maintenance assessment increase. CDD4 was forced to increase the maintenance assessments after devastating sinkhole damage in 2018. Some roadway projects were delayed because of that major expense. In addition to anxiety about road maintenance, supervisors have the looming $1.13 million under-drain repair at the Sawyer Villas. CDD4's estimate share of that project is $720,000. Money will be coming out of working capital reserves. Remember I think it was last week, we reported about this lady that was pregnant, got punched in the gut, and this guy all tattooed up on the face and everything, some nut guy. Anyway, there was a big argument. She had to go to the emergency care because somebody punched her in the gut, and she was pregnant and all this and that. He got arrested, and there was some other people involved. Well, we got another arrest in that. A second arrest has been made in an alleged attack on a pregnant woman who called for help from Margarita Republic in the Villages. Tammy Chanel Goo, 46 of Summerfield, was arrested Thursday on a felony charge of aggravated battery on a pregnant woman. I believe that other guy that was arrested, his last name was Goo. The tattooed face nut job. Yeah, it is. This must be his adorable wife, I'm guessing. Pregnant woman on May 21 contacted law enforcement from the restaurant at Spanish Springs Town Square and said she had been dropped off there following the alleged altercation and threats which occurred in Marion County. I'm not going to read a whole thing. We did this last week. Hunter Anthony Goo, I'll put his face up here again because it's such an adorable face. You'll love it. Who was arrested earlier this month, pointed a gun at the pregnant woman and threatened to kill her. The pregnant woman got away with the man in the truck. Goo allegedly fired 2 shots at the truck. The pregnant woman was dropped off at Margarita Republic. She was taken to Lake EMS to a local hospital for an evaluation. Tammy Goo, who has a lengthy criminal record, well, I'm shocked, including an arrest after drugs were found in her house in Stonecrest. Oh my God, these are Stonecresters. That's another retirement community. How do you have a 55-plus community and have people like this living in it? That was booked at the Marin County Jail and released after posting a $5,000 bond. Hunter Gu was arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He remains free on a $2,000 bond. Neighbors are fed up as a $15,600 in decompliance fines have piled up at an eyesore in the villages. The home at 17155 Southeast 79th McLaren Terrace in the village of Calumet Grove was the subject of public hearing Friday afternoon before the Community Development District 4 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. I believe that's up there where they had the big sinkholes a couple of years ago. It's been 3 years since the home's owner, Ronald Moore, passed away. Since then, the situation has continually worsened for residents living in the same neighborhood where massive sinkholes opened up in February 2018. There is mold growing on the driveway of the home. The utilities were shut off a long time ago. While they are upset about what is seen on the outside of the home, the neighbors are more fearful of what's going on inside the home. They are concerned that mold and pests are unabated in the home. Community standards confirm at Friday's hearing there are already $15,600 in fines that have been assessed against the home. Neighbor Wally Goodsell said he is worried a flipper will come in and purchase the home and the fines will be forgiven. Something that's been happening a lot in Florida's friendliest hometown. Goodsell urged the board not to let that happen in this case. We've put up with a lot, Goodsell said to the board, and that is true. They have a long history of forgiving fines when somebody comes in. But keep in mind, about a month ago, I showed a home that a flipper bought, cleaned it up, did a great job. I showed pictures. I give credit where credit's due. He wanted the fines forgiven, and the board said no. Here's another one. There is mold growing on the home and the bushes are overgrown. Community Standards has attempted to contact the reverse mortgage company's property preservation department, but the numerous messages left by Community Standards have not been returned. The utilities have been shut off at the property. Property owner was given 7 days to bring the property into compliance. If the property is not brought into compliance, a series of fines will be imposed. A 78-year-old resident of the villages who registered this week as a sex offender is asking a judge to allow him to have internet access. I say absolutely not, because of the case this guy's involved in. If you watched last week's news, you already know about this guy. John Thomas Nolan, who lives at 1364 Bokelia Place in the Bokelia Villas, registered Wednesday as a sex offender, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Earlier this month in Sumter County, Nolan pleaded no contest to 3 counts of possessing of child pornography. He was sentenced to 5 years probation. His 2020 arrest was the result of a 2-month investigation launched after a cyber tip was received by the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force. The Queens, New York native was arrested at the villa he purchased in 2012 for $142,000. Child pornography. He's asking the judge for internet access. It doesn't take a genius here to figure out what's in his mind. He should be not allowed to go to any family pools anywhere inside the villages. A public hearing was held Friday due to dead grass at an out-of-compliance home in the villages. Home is owned by Cynthia Trifone at 2082 Palo Alto Avenue in the village of Palo Alto. A follow-up inspection by Community Standards showed that the homeowner made no progress with regard to the dead grass. The Community Development District 1 Board of Supervisors found the homeowner in violation of decompliance and granted the homeowner 30 days to seed and resod the lawn. If not, fines will be imposed. Blah, 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 blah. A driver was extracted from a car after a 4-vehicle crash Sunday afternoon in the villages. A driver was extracted from a car after a 4-vehicle crash Sunday afternoon in the villages. Driver of a red Toyota Corolla at about 3:15 p.m. was headed west on U.S. Highway 27-441 when he crossed over the median and slammed into an eastbound quad cab Dodge Ram pickup. The 2 vehicles spun around onto Morris Boulevard. The Toyota went on to collide with a silver Honda SUV and a black GMC Acadia, which which was newly purchased by the driver. Oh, a brand new car. Ain't it always the way? Village Public Safety Department responded to the scene and firefighters extricated the driver of the Toyota. The driver was taken by ambulance to a local hospital. Witness said the other 3 drivers were also taken to local hospitals. The Florida Highway Patrol is investigating the crash. I'm just going to say it one more time. At 27 and 441 area up there, if there's any way possible for you guys to avoid that construction area up there, do so. Bare spots in the lawn of a home in the village of Rio Grande could spur fines at the residence of a villager who was a Green Beret. Gerald Foran bought the home in 1308 El Alabo Way in April 2019. Foran, who served in the Special Forces during Vietnam and took pride in being a Green Beret, died in June at the same year. This past March, Community Standards received a complaint about bare spots in the yard of the home, now under the Gerald Foran estate. The property is in foreclosure and the utilities have been shut off. Community Standards has had no response from the property preservation company hired by the financial entity foreclosing on the property. Wildwood police are looking for a suspect who stole a Kubota utility vehicle at Brownwood Paddock Square. The Kubota GZ460-ES utility vehicle had been parked June 1st in the parking lot behind Dunkin' Donuts and the Barnstorm Theater when a suspect at about 1 a.m. started the vehicle and drove it out of the parking lot while following a truck, according to the Wildwood Police Department. If you have any information regarding this case, contact Lieutenant O'Neill at 352-661-6192. An Oxford woman has escaped a drunk driving charge after drinking beer at Cody's Original Roadhouse in the Villages. Sandra Jewel Vilmer, 69, who lives at 11213 Ross Way, entered a plea of no contest May 31st to a reduced charge of reckless driving at Sumter County Court. She was ordered to pay fines and court costs in the amount of $431. Vilmer had originally faced a charge of driving under the influence. She had been driving a red Nissan at about 1:30 a.m. January 19th on US 301 just south of Oxford Oaks when an officer noticed her headlights were not illuminated. She told the officer she had not been aware her lights were off. During a traffic stop, the officer noticed that Vilmer's eyes were bloodshot. She was slow to respond. Vilmer told the officer she had been at Cody's in the Villages, although the arrest report did not specify which location. She said she consumed approximately 4 8-ounce beers, with the last one being an hour before her interaction. First of all, 8-ounce beers. I've been to Beer World many times, an 8-ounce beer. Somebody help me here. Do they sell beer down there by 8-ounce glasses, or is there such a thing as an imported beer that comes in an 8-ounce can or an 8-ounce bottle? Because I have never seen that. She added she had driven to Cody's to the traffic stop without noticing her headlights were not activated. A clear plastic cup was found in the vehicle center cup holder with a liquid residue with the odor of cinnamon whiskey. She refused to participate in field sobriety exercises, blaming a bum knee. Officials of the village's Duscher German Club met at Edna's on the Green on Tuesday to discuss the upcoming social dance and address general VDC club membership issues with interested villagers. The Wednesday, June 16th meeting will be at Colony Cottage Recreation Center beginning at 6 p.m., featuring music from many decades of the 20th century in various genres, including polka and ethnic hits. All villagers with valid IDs are invited to participate in the evening's Bring Your Own Beer Munchies, fellowship, and sample desserts brought by some club members. For more information, contact Tommy Braze at 603-591-0585 or tommy.brazie, B-R-A-Z-I-E, at gmail.com. Residents of a home with weeds in the Villages have apparently been hiding out from community standards. The home at 9319 Southeast 170th Humphreys Loop in the village of Briar Meadow was the subject of a public hearing Friday before Community Development District 4 Board of Supervisors. A complaint was received on February 14th about weeds at the property as well as miscellaneous items on the lot in the driveway. Harold K. Wilson was the owner of the property. He is deceased. It appears there are residents at the home. Community Standards has knocked on her door numerous times, but there has never been an answer. Several voicemail messages have been left, including with emergency contact information left behind by Wilson. A notice was sent to the home May 9th by regular mail and certified mail. The utilities are active, and the property taxes have been paid through 2021. A woman who was hallucinating was jailed after allegedly attacking law enforcement officers in the village. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies were called at about 3 a.m. Saturday to the Marathon Station at Lake Deaton Plaza, where 30-year-old Jacqueline Elizabeth Diaz was hallucinating and said she believed she and her father were in danger. She was having an adverse reaction to methamphetamine and heroin, according to the arrest report. She asked to sit in the back of the patrol car while waiting for the arrival of EMS personnel. However, she began kicking and hitting the plexiglass partition in the vehicle, causing $2,000 in damage. She was dry stunned by a laser. When EMS personnel arrived at the scene and attempted to administer Narcan to Diaz, she spat on a deputy and scratched the second deputy. She kicked the third deputy. The Pennsylvania native was arrested on 3 felony accounts of battery on law enforcement officers, as well as misdemeanor charge of criminal mischief and damage to property. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $12,000 bond. A vehicle theft suspect was nabbed after allegedly crashing a stolen sport utility vehicle near Wawa. A 58-year-old Summerfield woman said she was at the Tiki Hut in Oxford on Sunday when her gold Chevy Equinox was stolen by 34-year-old Richard Shane Will, also Summerfield, according to the arrest report. Did you leave your keys in the car? The woman walked to Wawa gas station and convenience store on County Road 466 and 301. That is just across the street from the village's property. The woman walked to the Wawa gas station and convenience store at County Road 466 and 301. When she got to Wawa, she saw her vehicle parked on the west side of the building. The vehicle had been involved in a traffic crash. Wills was caught on surveillance ditching the damaged vehicle at Wawa. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies found Willis walking on County Road 204. He claimed he knew nothing about the stolen vehicle. Willis, who was arrested in 2021 after crashing into a pole at the village's charter school, was arrested on charges of grand theft auto and hit and run. He was booked at Sumter County Detention Center on $8,000 bond. He was arrested in 2018 after a chase by law enforcement that ended in a crash in Marion County. He was arrested in 2016 after he was spotted looking in windows of cars parked at Target on Rolling Acres Road. At the time of the arrest, he had a BB gun in his pants. His driver's license has been revoked since 2007, and he has been classified as a habitual traffic offender. A letter has been hand-delivered to the developer of the villages asking for financial support with the replacement of the windmill and water tower at Brownwood Paddock Square. Community Development District 7 Board of Supervisors Chairman Jerry Vicente signed the letter asking Mark Morris to help with the replacement of the ornamental structures which were demolished last month on the eve of hurricane season. The rotting wood at the base of the structures deemed them to be a safety hazard. The initial cost of the removal and replacement of the windmill water tower was estimated to be $225,000 and would be paid for through the project-wide advisory committee, which is funded by residents. Maintenance assessments collected south of County Road 466. At Monday's CDD 7 board meeting, Vicente said he remains hopeful the developer will step up. I think he should pay for the whole thing. Well, you can think whatever you want. Thus far, the developer has not offered a response to Vicente's letter. If that does not work, CDD 7 apparently has another trick up its sleeves, as its independent counsel has determined that replacement of the water mill and water tower does not fall under the maintenance requirement to which PWAC is bound by its agreement. Our attorney doesn't think they have to be replaced. With inflation and everything going up, I don't think it's wise to spend that money, Vicente said. And remember what I always say, I'll see you on the other side, and don't leave your keys in the golf cart.